What are the agents of the Kremlin in your country like? Do they resemble those who poisoned a defector with chemical weapons in Salisbury, or those who shot Putin's enemies in Berlin, or perhaps they are undercover agents with fake passports? All of them are in Putin's arsenal. Yet, he does not achieve his strategic goals through them. The bulk of Putin's agents do not hide. Many lead fully public lives. They smile at you from their glamorous Instagram photos. They pose for business publications and they live under their own names in expensive homes in upscale districts. Some reside in luxury resorts. Putin's elites abroad are his agents of influence. Let us avoid slogans. Instead, let's examine with us this tool of the most aggressive authoritarian regime today. Putin does not train these agents at secret bases. They are literally products of his corrupt regime. Firstly, they are officials. In exchange for loyalty and willingness to follow Putin's orders, they receive their high positions. They can steal with impunity. The key principle here is simple. The higher you rise in the power pyramid, the less you worry about punishment for corruption. For example, Valentina Matvienko served 8 years as governor of one of Russia's largest regions. Her son built a massive corruption empire right after she took her high position. He shamelessly used his mother's influence. He seized assets and appropriated state property. In the end, Matvienko's son made a fortune of $1 billion. He purchased a villa in Italy, which Valentina Matvienko used as her personal luxury retreat, where she held secret meetings with high-ranking Putin supporters in Europe. We conducted an investigation on that villa. Later, Valentina Matvienko herself took the third most important position in the country. She became chair of the upper house of parliament. Her corrupt past made her ultra-loyal. She backed Putin's annexation of Crimea in 2014. She gave the green light to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. This symbiosis of corruption and authoritarianism is the calling card of Putin's regime. Corruption acts as cement. It binds the regime not just by letting the dictator jail anyone, it ties the wealth of modest officials to their loyalty. Carrot and stick? The situation with Russian businessmen is similar. In a corrupt system, business success depends on ties to officials. They must play by the same rules, otherwise they lose everything overnight. They literally bankroll high-ranking officials. In return, they gave business preferences and political influence. This is what being an oligarch means in Putin's system. In our investigation, we revealed how oligarch Alisher Usmanov gave Dmitry Medvedev, a then president of Russia, a bribe of 130 million euros. And Usmanov's business in Russia grew and thrived. Oligarch's loyalty for 20 years means active help for the dictator. Is there an independent newspaper bothering Putin? An oligarch buys it and makes it controlled and compliant. For example, Usmanov bought a well-known newspaper Kommersant for this purpose. Leonid Mikhelson hired, for example, the partner of Putin's daughter as a top manager. He did this to gain Putin's attention for his gas projects. Someone like Roman Abramovich provides Putin service on the international stage. Finally, beyond officials and oligarchs, there is a separate layer. These are Putin's friends and relatives. Some became oligarchs despite Finnish citizenship, like Gennady Timchenko. Others received huge companies and high posts as gifts, like the Tsivilova family. She is the daughter of Vladimir Putin's cousin, Yevgeny Putin. First, she got a coal company. Her husband became governor in a coal mining region. Now she is deputy defense minister of Russia. Her husband is energy minister. Everyone gets their share of benefits. Even the famous and wealthy conductor Valery Gergiev, who is a personal friend of Putin. He became director of the country's main theater. In our investigation, we showed how the state and oligarchs generously fund his projects and how he spends part of that money on personal needs. Did you notice how many times we referenced our investigations in this brief overview? This is the first thing we do. Through our investigations, we reveal how all officials, oligarchs, and those close to Putin are linked by the web of corrupt ties. No one can claim to be just successful businessman, an ordinary civil servant, or a private individual. As a political organization, we have a broader task. We assemble these separate investigations into a big picture. This is called institutional corruption. This is when corruption shifts from a crime or problem to the foundation of state relations. The very same corruption becomes the main method of state actions, especially in foreign policy, where it cannot always rely on brute force as it does domestically. When we discuss this and urge other states to view Putin through this lens, we rely on evidence we have gathered. This excursion into Putin's mafia state vividly shows that the wealth, social status, personal freedom, and even lives of all these people, their relatives and junior partners depend on fidelity to Putin and his regime. It seems like an ideal system. It is locked tight by corruption and fear. But what benefits the dictator turns into constant fear for every cog in the machine. They risk losing everything overnight. This can happen not just from disloyalty. It stems from endless infighting within the system. In December 2022, we investigated the glamorous life of Russia's state official, Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov. Corruption let him live like a dollar billionaire. He enjoyed high society, luxury real estate, vacations on the French coast, and simple hobbies like antiques for his wife. Then he was arrested. He lost it all in an instant. The fear of losing everything drives Putin's elite out of the country. For them, Russia is the perfect place to amass corrupt wealth. Yet it is the worst place to preserve it. Where there are no rules, you can build a huge fortune, but nothing guarantees its safety. Remember the son of Russia's third most powerful person. He bought that villa in Italy with corrupt money for his mother. He is a perfect example. While his mother faces European sanctions, he's fine. He lives well on the Adriatic coast with his wife. He keeps family money in San Marino. That small state makes banking oversight harder. Over years of owning property, he builds useful local ties. He crafts a positive image by donating to cultural restorations. This is called putting down roots. Through our investigations of Putin's elite assets in Europe, we expose their hypocrisy. This targets Russians, whom Putin tries to brainwash with talk of hostile West. He urges them to unite for Russia's greatness. Each investigation strikes at propaganda's narratives. It hits the foundation of Putin's system, corruption. We are showing that Putin is sending thousands of people to die in an unnecessary war in Ukraine, not to counter NATO, but to enrich corrupt officials like former Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov, so they can live like a billionaire. Now we reach the key part of the story. Why is this entire corrupt Putin elite considered agents of Kremlin influence, even after leaving Russia or moving their families and mistresses abroad? Even after transferring money out, these Putin elites remain tightly bound to Russia. There lies the source of their corrupt wealth, political influence, and social status. It is like a drug they cannot quit willingly. This lets Putin yank the leash anytime. He can force any of them to act in his interests. Can Sergei Matviyenko, son of his corrupt mother, whose capital rests in Russia's business, refuse Putin? Obviously not. Others, like conductor Valery Gergiev, are so close to Putin and favored by him that they represent the dictator willingly or not. Their mere presence in European stages normalize the war and repressions, as their public support for Putin is widely known. This is not just our view. The director of the Metropolitan Opera in New York calls Valery Gergiev a tool of Putin. Having infiltrated Europe, Putin's elites corrupt local officials, carry out the dictator's delicate assignments, and disseminate his propagandistic narratives. This is why we fight the infiltration of Putin's elites into Europe and other parts of the world. By putting down roots and building ties, they create infrastructure Putin exploits for his aims. Corruption is the main way Putin's elites do business. It is familiar to them. Wherever they settle, they import corrupt practices. Their loyalty to Putin and ties to local elites erode society's ability to resist his regime, his aggressive policy, and finally his war. Our investigations point out these Putin elite representatives. They should face sanctions. Their assets must be frozen. Their plans must not succeed. In the summer of 2025, Putin's friend conductor Valery Gergiev, who was ostracized after the war began for refusing to condemn the aggression, decided to return to Europe. His comeback on European stages would signal that supporting the war and Putin is no longer risky. Thanks to our public campaign in Italy, we stopped it. Our work consists of such battles. Right now, we are pushing for sanctions on Sergei Matviyenko, the corrupt owner of the Italian villa, who we've mentioned before. We seek to freeze his assets at last. After our investigation, Putin's yacht Shahrazad was seized. We already secured sanctions on children of top Russian officials and figures in the Russia's defense industry. We also support resistance to Putin's system inside the country this way. No one wants to fight for a lying, hypocritical, corrupt system. Thanks to this work, Putin has no war volunteers. He lures them only with huge payments. This prevents him, for example, from a full mobilization, as public discontent makes it too unpopular, even for an authoritarian regime. Putin's elites abroad are his real weapon of mass destruction. Unlike nuclear weapons, which he threatens verbally, he uses this one constantly. No orders are issued for its use. It acts on its own will and interests, yet it serves its master. Instead of radiation, it leaves a toxic, corrupt trail. It does not kill the living, but it destroys society's fabric and institutions. But the same corrupt elites are his weak spot. In Russia, Putin's power is nearly limitless. In Europe, he could not even protect his own yacht from seizure. But the main point is this. For those playing Russian roulette daily through business or high posts in Putin's system, the risks are justified while they hope to keep their wealth. Let us be honest, they cannot plan decades ahead in China or Arab Emirates. So the appeal of serving Putin's regime depends heavily on how aggressively Western countries pursue his beneficiaries. This is a key focus of our work. Just recently, Canada sanctioned 50 people from our list. We urge Europe to follow suit. We conduct our work since 2011. No oligarchs or governments fund us. We fight Putin's regime thanks to our supporters and those who back our efforts. You can support it on our website. There, read more about what we do. And of course, you can subscribe to this channel. We tell the truth about Putin's system and the threats it poses.